Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me well. I am so delighted to have you joining us today for the excellent pitches of the three finalists of the European Mobility Challenge. My name is Irina Pătrașcu-Grant, and I'm Communications and Partnership Director at Ertico ITS Europe. And for those of you not yet familiar with who we are a public-private partnership of around 120 partners from a high range of mobility actors. And our goal together as a partnership is to make mobility cleaner, safer, and more efficient. So I want to tell you a little bit about the Global Mobility Challenge because it is an initiative that is close to my heart. And through this competition, we want to engage with the young generation of individuals that are passionate about innovation and passionate to leave their markings on the mobility of tomorrow, particularly given the current challenging times we are facing. So the Mobility Challenge is an initiative established jointly by Ertico, ITS America, and ITS Asia Pacific. And as I said, we want through this competition to engage with the future generations of mobility professional. So as the name suggests, students from around the world are competing to find the best idea of a mobility problems. And you and all of us, we are here today to select the team of students that will represent Europe at this global challenge and that will oppose the teams of America and Asia Pacific. So a lot of challenge for us. It's important that we choose right. So for the European stage of the competition that we have launched, we have asked students from around Europe to design and elaborate an inclusive solution to meet a mobility challenge from the city where they study and live. And we have had excellent project submissions that was firstly reviewed by a jury of experts that we have put together. And I would like to now present to you the members of the jury who are here with us today. I hope that we can also see them through the webcams. So the members of the jury are Isabel van Doorn, Deputy Head of Units for Sustainable and Intelligent Transport at the European Commission. Maria Pia Fanti, Professor at the University Politehnico di Bari. Gino Franco, Chief Innovation Officer at Swarco. Lorian Crit, Director General at FIA Region 1. Hello, Gino. Hi, Lorian. And Ginny Martin, Secretary General of ITS UK. And lastly, but not least, Sasha Westerman, Head of Project Management Office at Hamburger Hochbahn. So thank you to our jury for being present here today. You will hear from all of them later on in the Q&A session for the pitches. So we, the jury, have evaluated all the brilliant proposals that were put forward, and we have come with the three finalist team that have been asked to present these ideas to you today. And you can see now on the screen the three teams. Team number 1 is from Gheorghe Asachi Technical University of Iaşi. Team number 2 is from University of Bologna, and team number 3 is from the University POLITEHNICA of Bucharest. So in addition to this, we are very excited to have also speaker representatives from all the 3 cities that are addressed by the student teams. So these are Elena Farke, Head of International Cooperation Office at the Municipality of Iaşi. Alessandro Meggiato, Head of Public Transport and Sustainable Mobility at Region Emilia-Romagna, representing the city of Bologna, and Răzvan Ruginiș, presenting to you today on behalf of the municipality of Bucharest. So welcome and thank you for taking the time to be present here today. We will hear from the three of you later on in the program. So talking about the program, let me tell you a little bit about how today is going to work. Each team will have 5 minutes to convince you that their idea is the winning idea and that they should be the team representing Europe at this global competition. And after each of the pitch, there's going to be a 10-minute Q&A session where the jury, the city representative, and you, our audience, can ask questions to the team. And this will happen for the three teams. After which time we will be opening the live voting via Slido. I will introduce you to the Slido details and the code once we're opening the voting. So while the votes are being cast, we will have the pleasure to hear the three cities representative discussing the mobility challenges that are being addressed by the team and how the municipality are dealing with these challenges. And lastly, and most importantly and excitingly, we will reveal the winning team that will represent Europe at the global competition. So a few admin remarks before we start. I want to let you know that today's session is being recorded and you will find this recording on Ertico's YouTube channel starting from next week. I would also like to point out in your GoToWebinar platform the chat box, the chat function where you can ask questions during the Q&A session, but also ask questions to the city representatives when they are presenting as well. So without any further ado, I want to declare this competition open and introduce to you the first team pitching. The first team is represented by Andrea Valentina Militaru, from the Gheorghe Asachi University of Iași. And welcome, Andrea. You have strictly 5 minutes to do the presentation and the floor is yours. I can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yourself. Okay, and can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay, I will start my presentation. Good afternoon, everyone. I am Andrea Militaru. Thank you for the appreciation of our idea and the chance to take part at the challenge. This competition gives us the opportunity to understand the problems in the context of urban mobility and to find the solution. Presented under the name Connected Road Users for increased safety and optimal traffic flow. The survey revealed real difficulties that traffic participants are facing every day. For the vulnerable road users, I will mention just a few of the problems. No traffic light pedestrians crossings or no visibility, no enough visibility. Let's move on to the solution. Our team came up with the idea of an intelligent and an application. An application that keeps connected all the traffic participants by means of mobile connection and in the context of intelligent infrastructure. The application targets three aspects: to increase the traffic flow, to keep safe the pedestrians, elderly, persons with disabilities, or children, and to improve the environment quality. Maybe you are wondering how an application can do all these things. A special interface was dedicated to the well, okay. A special interface was dedicated to the vulnerable road users for their safety. In addition to classical aspects of planning the route or choosing the transportation mode, the vulnerable road users will be warned about the dangerous areas and the intersections, especially that ones not well signalized. The application would inform the drivers about the vulnerable road users' intention of crossing the street. Each category of pedestrians, for example, the ones using wheelchairs, can customize the warning according to their needs. For instance, more time needed to cross the street. Regarding the traffic flow in the city, for this is dedicated another interface for the drivers, where an optimal path is obtained by planning a route in which the congested areas are avoided and the pedestrian crosswalks are properly signalized. Moreover, the free parking spaces will be suggested to the driver from the beginning of the planning of the route. So they will save time for searching an available parking lot. You all know that it's impossible to connect all the traffic participants, but our scope is to ensure the safety of all of them, not only of those that are using the application. In the areas in the areas with higher risk of causing accidents, there will be video cameras that use artificial intelligence to analyze and predict the behavior of the vulnerable road users by sending the warnings to the driver. There is one more aspect that our application can improve, and this is related to reduction to pollution reduction by spending less time in traffic and avoiding sudden braking. Therefore, the application can keep connected all the traffic users, helps them to avoid accidents or to lose time in traffic. But it's also critical to protect their data and availability in the context of being part of an intelligent infrastructure. The great development of the city um, um, needs an application in which the vulnerable road users and the drivers have in their hands a clear image of traffic. For this reason, there are many stakeholders interested in the usefulness of the application. For example, local authorities, traffic management operators, for example, Orange, companies, for instance, Continental, and last but not the least, the end users who only need a smartphone to access the application.
Andrea,
Today
thank
on
you very
our
much. I'm sorry, but
okay,
your time is up.
thank you. I said what I want to say.
Well done. Well done. Thank you, Andrea. All right,
Thank you
so
too.
then I want to open the questions and answer session and give an opportunity to our jury and also to Elena Farka from the municipality to ask of Iași to ask their questions to you. So,
Okay.
jury, this is over to you.
Yeah, it's okay. And for this section, I want to introduce also my colleagues, Julia Nicolic and Julia Onica.
Hi, hello there.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. So, any question from the jury?
Shall I kick off? It's Jenny here from ITS UK.
Yes, Jenny, please go ahead.
So I'll start by asking, could you say a bit more about how you researched the needs of the vulnerable road users? Did you deal with focus groups or any representative organizations, for instance?
We talk with our colleagues and we made also a survey which was dedicated for the traffic participants in Iași, and there people was asked about dangerous areas or daily traffic problems, and also they provide us some ideas for improving the traffic flow in the city and also the safety.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I may follow on, if I may. Isabelle Van Den speaking.
Okay.
I see that you have tried to improve the mobility by using kind of digital tools, but I see that you have, if I understand correctly, the car is still at the center of your model. Could you explain why? Is it because it is linked to the situation, the local situation, or how can we, let's say, how could you adapt a bit your model to give more space for the vulnerable road users, so the cyclists, the pedestrian, the disabled?
If I
Okay.
understand the question.
I can understand this one. Well, I think that this kind of application can be used also on larger areas. So the thing is that one can, if there is no input from the user, right, there could be input from that specific area where there are cameras or devices installed working on, I don't know, artificial intelligence, like we already said. So this will be working very well on larger areas where multiple users are using it, but as well where the city has some great features with some great infrastructures and devices. And yes, I think that can improve his situation by adding or having this kind of devices. If I not responded right to your question, if I'm on point or no, please tell me so I can add more.
Well, my comment was that the choice was made to have a car-centric mobility solution, and so I was wondering if you have thought about, let's say, sharing some space and so on and so forth. So to have a more user-centric approach, more let's say vulnerable users approach.
Okay, so the idea is that the application has personalized profiles, so the users can be preferably, yes, vulnerable road users, so wheelchair persons with disabilities, old people, or pregnant women, I don't know, but they should, I mean, this application is more useful for them because they input their status, yes, to the drivers to pay attention to where they are, I don't know, driving their cars, or if there are some dangerous areas where it's populated with more children and teenage people.
Thank you.
Well, thank you as well.
It's Gino Franco here. There is still time for a question.
Yeah, Gino will have your question, and then Elena, I see that you also have a question, so we'll do it in this order.
Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just interested to know if you have, what is, in your opinion, the key factor to have a successful adoption of the app by the final user. So why the final user should choose this app instead of others that can be available? So what will be the key factor?
Okay, so the main thing of this application is that it will be designed to be easy to use. It should not give a hard time to the users, right? We have of course, this application should have these new features, what brings new to the users to use it. So the customized warnings for the vulnerable road users, for the drivers, for all kinds of pedestrians. So we aim to cover all the scenarios where the pedestrians and the peoples are put in danger. So, well, everyone should be safe. This is our principle. This is what we aim. So if you want to I don't know, to put there your destination, this will affect, of course, the other persons that are in that area. So to put everyone together, we should allow the information to flow, and people should understand, or of course, they can understand that this is important. Information is the key, and it should flow.
Okay, thank you.
All right,
And
thank
it
you.
has,
Go ahead,
okay.
Andrea.
The application has also user-friendly interface. So this is, and of course, it's free for the end users. So this is one plus for the application if you want to use it.
Thank you, Andrea. Elena?
Thank you.
Hello, and first of all, congratulations for this application. I think it's really amazing. I work for the municipality, and you identified very well the problems we are facing in mobility of people. The question is, in one hand, if you thought to use the already existing infrastructure of cameras, of sensors that we have in various projects of Iaşi municipality. And the second question is that if you think that it would be interesting, or it can be add, for example, some areas to mark in a specific way some area with special issues in terms of safety, like parks or hospitals or schools where there are usually a lot of vulnerable people. Thank you, and congrats again.
Thank you. So for the first question, yes, we want to reuse the existing infrastructure. This is the base, the fundamental of our application, and we want just to improve the actual infrastructure, to add some video cameras or sensors like radar or lidar in the intersections. For example, Pod Roș, which is a complex one, and there is a high risk of accidents. So yes, we will reuse the infrastructure, and we want to improve it. And this is one plus for the application, because we have already an infrastructure, and we can improve it efficiently, I think.
Okay, brilliant. I would also like to go ahead, okay. Elena, please go ahead.
The second question, with special marks for, let's say, more vulnerable spots like hospitals, schools, if we can find a solution to point them in a specific way?
Yes, of course. They can have a special category in the application, and in that areas we want to, and our scope is to improve the safety in that places with cameras for the persons that cannot use or they are not don't feel good and are not able to use the application.
I think that answers your question. Okay, brilliant. I want to also take one question from the audience. So we have Nathaniel Tan, who is asking, can users report problematic areas by either using geolocation or manually dropping a pin on the map?
Of course. In order to be more specific, the application wants to take their warnings for increasing the safety that for the rest of the vulnerable road users. So we will be happy if they are signalizing what is wrong, and also this is available for the drivers.
Okay, well, thank you, Andrea. One more question, and we only have time for one more question from Ioana Cristocia from University of Bologna. And her question is, you claim that your priorities include cleaner air, so generally an attention to environmental problems. How does your app contribute to that, and how does it differentiate from similar applications such as Waze or Move It connected to CCTV systems?
So we expect that reducing the time spent in traffic and avoiding congestions, with this thing will decrease the air pollution, and the emissions of the cars will be reduced in that way. And of course,
how does it differentiate from similar applications? That's the second part.
Because of the interface dedicated from the safety of the vulnerable road users. In that way, we can predict some scenarios as sudden braking, and we know that this is another source of pollution from the entire, because when a vulnerable road users appears from anywhere at the crosswalks, we have to press the braking. So this the port and the implication of the vulnerable road users will also help to decrease the air pollution and the environment pollution.
Yes, and one more thing to add. So support is not really from the intelligent intersection, from the infrastructure itself. So it contributes to it. So it's not like Waze or anything like they. Also, we want to focus of the road users, vulnerable road users.
Great, thank you for that clarification, Julia. So with that concludes the Q&A for Team 1. So thank you very much, Team 1, and thank you especially to you, Andrea, for the presentation.
Thank you. So, hope you enjoy it.
Okay. Very much so. And I would like to say thank you to the audience who keeps on sending questions. So please continue to do that. And now it's time to introduce to you team number 2, represented by Leonardo Gheorghe from the University of Bologna, and they are here to present to you their idea. Leonardo, just like for Andrea, please bear in mind that it is strictly 5 minutes for the presentation, and the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much. Can you see my screen, my presentation?
Yes, that's visible.
Okay, perfect. Good afternoon to everyone. I am Leonardo, and today I would like to pitch briefly our project for the city of Bologna. First of all, a very short video presentation about our wonderful city. We have thought that this is the best way to say welcome to Bologna. So the focus of our project is on arcades. Arcades are a unique urban design features of Bologna. They are a worldwide recognized city landmark, a reference point for the urban lifestyle, and a living part of the road network infrastructure. They work as physical protection during the bad weather conditions and separate the roadway with the footpath. Arcades remain essential elements for the promotion of active mobility. However, their integration with normal mobility flows in the narrow streets of the city center is quite difficult and often generates low visibility problems, especially at the intersections. Right-angle junctions are really frequent, and arches' presence all along the road make pedestrians and cyclists hardly visible for the drivers. So, road crossings have become particular high-risk conflict zones, where crashes between motorized vehicles and vulnerable users may occur. The consequences are really emphasized by high speeds, considering that drivers usually don't respect speed limits imposed by traffic calming measures and seem to underestimate the global risk. Our mobility solution, Arches Crossing Health System, redesigns the traditional intersection, making it a responsive crossing. In few words, our idea is formed by 3 different sensor systems installed for detecting pedestrian, cyclist, and motorized vehicles, a central computer to receive signals from the sensors and calculate time to collision, or TTC, an alerting system for vehicles approaching the intersection. That at the same time, it's able to generate a speed limit warning. But the most important part of our project is a set of hologram projectors that generates a 3D image at the intersection, visible both from pedestrians and vehicles approaching. In this system, different technological devices work together to prevent crashes, protect cyclists and pedestrians crossing the road, and making all the road users more aware of each other. The safety aspects, in fact, are integrated with an artistic element as the hologram, trying to nudge people adopting a best practice as the speed reduction in a more friendly way through a gamification process. This smart infrastructure could also make possible the transition from the traditional concept of road as a space contended by different users to a shared space where every traffic component can easily assess and contribute to the global system safety. A possible upgrade for our mobility solution in the long-term scenario is to develop a mobile application that it's able to communicate with the intersection using the low-energy Bluetooth technology. In this configuration, when a road user arrives near the intersection, the app communicates with the edge computing system at the intersection, which calculates automatically the speed and crash risk indicators. Then, when necessary, the computer activates the warning signal both in the mobile phone and at the intersection. This upgrade can reduce the cost for the sensor installation, and with the increasing number of connected people, it can be a good alternative or a support for the sensors. This scenario represents a good example of the smart city concept, in which technological elements are used to promote the efficiency of city operations and to provide useful information for all the citizens. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Leonardo. You did well in time for the 5 minutes. Well done for that. So now it's time I want to give the opportunity to the members of the jury and also to Alessandro Meggiato from the region of Emilia-Romagna to ask their questions. So in no particular order, does somebody from the jury have a question for Leonardo and team 2?
First of all, I would like to introduce my partners, my colleagues, especially Navid Gazemi and Giulia Maroni, that are going to help me in this phase, in this Q&A phase.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
So the floor is to the jury.
Irina, maybe me, if I could kickstart. So I'm Lorian from the FA Region 1. My main question, I found the project really innovative, especially this hologram thing. My main 2 questions would be how is the visibility? I guess in the nighttime it might be easy, but in the daytime, how can you actually see that? And second, how did you come about with that technology? Does it exist anywhere else? Or that would be my 2.
Okay. we have tried to think about a set of problems that we could find in during the development idea, and for the poor visibility during daylight, we think about some darker images in order to maximize the contrast between background and the image projected. And this could be possible installing a photo cell that automatically change the and choose the most suitable image considering the light conditions according to the different situation. Maybe some of my colleagues want to add something more.
If not, I can ask a question. I can ask a question, Isabelle speaking. So yes, indeed, it is quite innovative. Again, I would like to a bit understand. Again, I find it quite, let's say, machine-centric and a bit not enough human-centric. So could you a bit elaborate how you include the persons, the human being in your projects from different perspectives?
Okay. The human beings are included considering that this is not a traditional safety measures, but a more involving one, considering the artistic element that it's part, it's the main part of the measure in this case. The gamification process is a good example of how to involve people in a safety measure, in a safety project in this case. And
thank you.
Also, maybe another important element we would like to underline is that it's very important to make people aware of the presence of this system. And to do this, we have to provide all the information about how the system works. So it's important maybe to insert on the ground some recognizable path using for stickers that could separate the pedestrian flows on the footpath and the normal footpath path, in order to highlight the range of the pedestrian sensor and how it's working.
Thank you, Leonardo.
I have a question. I am Maria Pia speaking.
Please go ahead, Maria Pia.
And your proposal is very innovative, but I don't know if it can be easy to be applied. Indeed, what I understood is that you propose a centralized solution that can be complex to be applied and not scalable. Moreover, some other problems could be problems of transmission and computation delays that can be very important for a real application. What do you can explain about that?
Maybe Navid is the best person to try to explain this point, because it's very expert on.
Sorry, Leonardo. So if talking about the sensors, we have the sensors, the pneumatic sensor for the bicycles, and we are using the movement sensors for the for detecting the pedestrians. Then, as Leonardo described in the very short presentation, we are going to calculate the time to collision, which is a time-based indicator, And I would not see with the high frequency of the sensor, we would not have problems of the delay for applying the warning signal. I hope I answered you.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers.
All right, great. So looking at the time, I want to reserve some time for Alessandro Mediato if he has a question. And otherwise, I could also take one question from the audience. Alessandro, do you have any questions at this point?
Yes, just two words. I think that road safety is crucial for sustainability in mobility, especially in urban areas, especially in historical centers like Bologna. So if road safety means a good quality of urban space, it means more possibilities of meet people and enhance good relations. So this situation of good quality is a matter of public space public space treatment and behavior changer. And I think that we have to think about both the aspects, and every way to stimulate the change of behavior in this case is good, and is a support. In this case, is a support of to also to accept some restriction due to the new a different space public space treatment. So this is for me is a very important and innovative proposal, because put an innovative element in some classical campaigns or way to accept a new situation toward a better road safety and space and city and mobility sustainability. I have to ask, yeah.
Just to be fair to all the teams, please refer to your question to the team.
Yes. My question is, how is like the previous question? How can we implementate it with the rules of mobility of using public spaces?
Okay, so you are asking about the legislative integration, or only the technological integration, the infrastructure integration?
How can you put the infrastructure integration in the legislation framework?
Oh, okay. Well, I think that the most important things to consider that this is a prototype. So the first thing to do is try to implement it on the road infrastructure, and then integrating it with the other infrastructure that are working in other situations. For example, sensors that are part of the system are part of the legislation and are usually used and widely used also in other contexts. So this is not this part of the projects are not problems. The innovative way, the innovative element is the hologram projector, but this is not. It's the main part of the project, but it's not acting directly on the road infrastructure. So I think that this wouldn't be a problem. And maybe also if we start with a prototype, we don't have to have a strict legislative framework to respect, maybe.
Okay. Thank you, Leonardo, and thank you, Alessandro, for your question. I want Leonardo to also take one question from the audience, but looking at the time, if you could make your answer quite short to it.
Okay.
There is a question from Ciprian Comșa, who is asking for a clarification and then an answer if his understanding is correctly. So he's saying, if I understood correctly, you would like to use Bluetooth technology, and if yes, did you take into account the delay with establishing the connection, as this is critical in safety applications?
Maybe Navid could ask in
Yes.
about.
So basically, this is not our main project. It's a developing part of our project. The main project is the RHS and the use of the traditional sensors. However, we found the Bluetooth low energy technology useful for the development phase because we can add more. Can have more privacy and have edge computing instead of a centralized system. So it's in the development.
Thank you for your answer. All right, so thank you, Leonardo, for the presentation, and thank you, Navid, also for assisting with the Q&A. Great job, team 2. And now it's time to also give the floor to team 3, who is from the University POLITEHNICA of Bucharest. And representing team 3 is Adrian Asachi, who will give the presentation. Adrian, just like everyone else, 5 minutes. Please be mindful of that.
Thank you, Irina. Think about the last time you missed an important meeting because of the traffic, or your kid was already asleep when you got home. Was it frustrating? We know it was. In 2019, the congestion level in Bucharest would skyrocket 103% during rush hour, and the situation has not improved yet. How much time does this mean? Well, twice the usual you would spend without traffic, summed up to 9.5 days per year, time you could instead use enjoying Bora Bora. Today, there are over 1 million privately owned vehicles registered in Bucharest and 2 companies that provide public means of transport, both under and overground. Furthermore, alternative ways to move around, such as ride-sharing, bike rental, or electric scooters, surfaced and gained traction in the past few years. Motum is an integrated platform that makes use of Bucharest's digital skin to empower and incentivize drivers towards transport means alternative to the private vehicle by rewarding them according to their choices. To do this, Motum is built on 3 main services, enabled by various technological building blocks. We start from gathering data through various APIs from data providers. This is real-time traffic data from cameras and sensors throughout the city on one hand, and transit information such as bike and scooter rental points, public transport stations, and parking spots on the other. We take this data, pre-process it, clean it of redundancies, and feed it to a machine learning recommendation component. To make the recommendation more personal, each user is asked to fill in a profile when firing up the application for the first time, and this profile will contain information such as their transportation preferences, their constraints, and the vehicle they drive. The output of the recommendation component is a set of alternatives ranked according to the estimated reduction in carbon footprint, the travel time, and relative cost of each of them, characteristics which are fully transparent to the user. Based on the carbon footprint saving, each user is rewarded with points that they can later exchange for discounts at our partners, but I will come back to this later on. We also use the data to provide our partners with useful metrics. Now let's get a tour of the app. You fire the application for the first time, create your profile, and you're ready to go. Now let's say you find yourself stuck in traffic. Motum pulls traffic information from the APIs it finds available and notices the high congestion level. It then puts the AI to work and finds the best alternatives in your area. You get a notification with the alternatives, ranked as I mentioned before, from which you can freely choose the best according to your needs. Motum guides you to the nearest free parking spot. You park, you go to the new means of transport you have chosen, the app notices you have made the switch, and you are rewarded with the points. All of this is made possible through the city's resource providers. Motum is developed to fit in the evolving ecosystem of Bucharest and scale to any city, no matter its size. This involves access to data, transport, retail, and leisure providers. We rely on data providers to get the input to our recommendation system, on transport providers to work with us by giving users benefits such as discounts and free rides. We finally rely on retail and leisure providers to help us make Motum more and more appealing to our users. We need the city to work with us towards a more flexible and greener mobility model, and we make a vow to deliver. Now, I will be honest. I will not be eager to drop off my comfortable car and spend extra money on a bike on which I can travel through Bucharest a tad faster. But here's the catch. Most people often do not realize the added cost of standing in traffic. The in-app rewards can be converted into discounts for services offered by our partners, ranging from travel to retail discounts. We all wish for a safer place to live in and a brighter future for our children. One step to take is to improve the quality of life by decreasing the traffic and encouraging people to mind their decisions when it comes to transportation. Motum contributes to the fight for a greener future by shaping a more flexible mobility model in which users are more aware and conscious than ever of the available alternatives and their benefits. 2 years ago, my colleagues and I co-founded the first Formula student team in Bucharest, and now, thanks to Ertico, we teamed up again. We are now in touch with several cultural models and opportunities, and we are prepared to rise up to the challenge of making Bucharest a better place. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Adrian, and thank you for keeping in time as well. Well done. So I would like to again open the floor to the jury and also for the representatives from the municipality of Bucharest, Răzvan Ruginici, for questions. So I'll start with the jury. Anyone from the jury?
I can start?
Yes, please go ahead, Isabel.
So I feel comfortable with your marketing presentation, if I may say so. So congratulations for making it really nice to read. And so I think that it's already a good product as such. I would like maybe to ask a question, maybe as a project manager. And if you could elaborate a bit on the challenge you would face to implement this project, because I see a lot of challenge and I would like to hear if you have identified them.
Yes. Well, of course, we have thought of the future steps we would like to take with our project. And perhaps one of the main challenges we expect to face in the upcoming phases is establishing the proper relationships with the necessary partners. So as I've mentioned in one of the slides, we rely on specific partners to enable our application. So in that sense, one of the biggest challenges would be to get in touch and to establish a proper connection with them. So okay. Yes, I'm also mentioning something about that in this slide as well.
Isabel, I hope your question was answered by this.
It's okay.
Right.
May I ask another session?
Yes,
question
please,
from the jury, Sasha here from Hamburg. Hey, so thank you very much for the very good presentation and the very good paper. Good idea, of course. And currently, there's a lot going on in Mars and all that. And there are different apps and solutions regarding Mars all the world. And may you tell a bit more what makes your solution, what makes Motum so unique? What is the special thing about that?
Yes, thank you for your question. Well, as you've already mentioned, there are already a couple of solutions out there, and what makes us what we think makes us unique is the incentives given to our users by our reward system. So we basically looked at the models of other solutions already on the market, and we found that those are already solutions that work quite well in terms of route planning and say travel time management. But what Motum brings as an extra, what our unique value proposition is the gamification or the reward system, which we want to use as I've said before, as an incentive for drivers to try and encourage them towards being more flexible with their mobility preferences, let's say. So that would be what Motum brings new to the table, let's see. Thank you for your question.
Okay. Can I also make a question on this? It's a
Please
Gino
go ahead,
Franco.
Gino.
You mentioned the rewarding system. That is really something that I like in your proposal. Have you thought how to actually deploy it, how it works, both from the technology point of view, but also from the mechanism point of view? How do you, in which form do you think is the best way to present the rewards for the final user?
Thank you. We did indeed think about it, and one of the key principles of the underlying mechanism behind the reward system is that we want to scale the rewards mainly based on the reduction in carbon footprint of the chosen alternative, of the alternative that the user has chosen. Because what we want with Motum is to also reduce the traffic congestion level of packed cities such as Bucharest, but we want to do that by being completely aware and making our users completely aware of the real problem that climate change is, and to give them a proper overview of how much they each contribute to that problem and how much they can contribute in a better in solving the problem by using our app to start with. So that would be, let's say, the key principle. Then to scale each reward with the carbon footprint reduction. Then of course there is this interface between our application and our partners, because I've mentioned that our users will be able to use in-app points, so the rewards that they are given according to their choices. I've mentioned that they will be able to use those to exchange them for discounts, and I'm talking here about travel discounts on one hand, so free tickets or free parking time or discounts for those, not necessarily free, but also discounts at retail providers, so clothing stores or hardware stores and so on. So that is also something we thought about, and this also depends on the relationships that we are going to establish next with our partners.
Great, thank you, Adrian, for that answer. Dino, I hope that you don't have a following question, as I would like to also give the floor to Răzvan Ruginiș in case he has a question from the municipality side. And otherwise, Răzvan, there's also questions from the audience. So please let me know if at this point you have any questions. I think you are still muted, Răzvan. No, we still can't hear you. Okay, if you want, you can also write it to me in the chat box, and I will ask it for you. So then, Adrian, there is one question from the audience, and I will read that to you. So if for Motum, it is clear to see that it is essentially a mass application. And the question is, are there existing mass solutions in Bucharest? And if there are, how does Motum stand out?
Yes, thank you. So I think the answer is pretty similar to what I've already said before. But yeah, thank you for the question. there are, of course, we are aware that there are already current players out there in the mobility game. And again, what Motum brings to the table is the reward system, and for that reason, we didn't necessarily think of these players as direct competition, but more of possible partners, because these players, these companies, these providers have really efficient APIs that would speed up the deployment process of Motum as well. So in that sense, we would like, and we wish to form a community around this mobility issue. And I've presented Motum as an integrated mobility platform. So and this is also an example of that. We want to integrate the different flavors of mobility and the different providers of mobility services in Bucharest into Motum, and we bring on top of that the incentive component, the recommendation component as well. And yeah, this is how Motum stands out. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Adrian. And in the meantime, Răzvan did not yet solve his audio. Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah.
Great.
So I managed to solve the mic problem. So my question was, is this reward system meant to reward also bikers and people traveling with mass transit transportation? How do you see their motivation?
And Adrian, before you answer that, if you could make your answer quite short, as we're running out of time.
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. Well, it mainly depends on the means of transport that the user already chose, because as I've mentioned, one of our main concerns is with the carbon footprint. And if a user wants to switch from walking or biking to a public transport means of transport, then of course the carbon footprint is increased. So in that sense, there wouldn't be a reward. But if it goes the other way around, so if the user chooses an alternative that is better in any way, so going from public transport to walking or to biking or to an electric scooter, then the reward system also applies to that case. So we put a focus on drivers of privately owned vehicles, but it also works with public transport as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adrian. All right. So that concludes the pitching sessions, and I want to thank Andrea, Leonardo, and Adrian for these great presentations, and to the three teams. You have done a wonderful job, and I think now our audience has all the necessary information to decide on the winner of the European Mobility Challenge. So I want to tell you how you from the audience can cast your vote. So here on the screen you can go to Slido and put in the event code #MobilityChallenge2020, and then just cast your vote. I'm sure that it's going to be a difficult decision to make. So because of that, we have opened the voting system for the next 5 minutes to give you enough time to think through your decision. And while the voting is happening, I would like to already invite the city representatives to tell us about how they're addressing the mobility challenge of their cities, and especially the ones that have been addressed also by the three teams. So without further ado, I want to invite first Elena Farca, Head of International Cooperation Office at the Iaşi municipality. Elena, the floor is yours.
Thank you, and hello once again to everyone. I'm very proud to be today here with you and to present the solution of Iaşi mobility in this event. I noticed that our colleagues from the Technical University pointed very well the problems that we have with the increasing traffic flow, the need of more safety for pedestrians and vulnerable people, and the struggle to maintain the clean air of the city. And I'm very glad to present that our municipal vision is to have a city for people and less for cars. Public transport instead of individual transport, alternative mobility, and clean air. And for this vision, we have developed, and we are in course to develop some projects that I will present you really fast, that I will comply to the 10 minutes that we have. First major project that can be used also by our very inventive students from the Technical University is the traffic management system already in place, and we have 96 intersection of the city already integrated in this traffic management system with the 59 CCTV cameras and 20 kilometers of optical fibers. And due to this traffic management system, we have solved already more than 5,000 incidents or requests from various citizens or institutions. Also, one of our main priority is low carbon transport, low carbon public transport. And for this, in the last 2 years, we have invested a lot to replace the entire fleet of old buses. And we have bought 100 Euro 6 buses to replace all the existing old buses. But also we are working on zero carbon public transport, and for this we have purchased really this year 15 new tramways, and now we have a total of 145 tramways in entire Iași, and 32 new trams will arrive on European funds this year and next year. And also 44 electrical buses are planned to be purchased this year and to have it installed in Iași next year. But we are not working only on public transport. We are trying to cope with the needs of private, and we have this policy to encourage the electrical car use. So we have free parking slots for people, for owners of electrical cars, and they are clearly labeled in each parking, and they are obviously specially dedicated. And we also have an increased number of charging points. We have already 43 points in various spots of the city, but we intend to continue to develop this number also with municipal investments and with private sector. Regarding the air quality monitoring, we have installed this year even 22 new air quality sensors that are correlated with the traffic sensors in order to have a better accuracy of the information. And we also use the system of quality air monitoring on 10 buses that are rolling all over the city in order to have a very clear idea about the traffic pollution in Iași. We are also working on improving our infrastructure, and we have an agreement of cooperation with the Technical University for finding the best traffic solution. And we are also working on creating one-way streets in order to avoid, the congestion and the blocking of various points of the city. And we also are taking into consideration building new air passages and to enlarge some existing roads. Regarding the public transport, we are also working on created dedicated lines for public transportation, and this idea is also in public debate to be implemented starting probably next year. and also to create the green traffic lights to public transport, so they have priority in intersection or in other ways. Also, we intend to create special park and ride area, especially at the entrance of the city, in order to promote more leaving the car at the entrance of the city in a large park and taking a bus or another means of transportation. Also, we have a lot of innovation on public transport, having now integrated e-ticketing with various solutions for payments, starting from QR system to electronic wallet to Wi-Fi devices in the trams and buses. And we have free Wi-Fi for connection to the in our public transportation, dedicated to the people that are having long travels and who needs to have an occupation during this travel. We also have in the buses and in the trams plasma screens with information about the roads and about the public transportation in the city. Video surveillance system installed in order to ensure travel safety, passenger counting system that helps us to adapt more our public transportation for rush hour or for lines that are not so full all day. Also, we started this year and will continue next year to implement electronic displays in bus and tram station with real-time hours of arrival and departure of public transportation. Regarding the social inclusion, we have all our buses with the wheelchair ramps and dedicated places. And also we have a system with the voice announcement for impaired people that announce the station and help them to feel more comfortable in our public transport. Regarding the alternative mobility, we have one project, Velocity, on European funds that started this year to be implemented. And in this project, we will have around 1,000 new bicycles to be rented, and with around 60 points of parking all over the city, so you can take the bicycle from one point and go to another and leave it there. And also we'll have dedicated bicycles, around 80 dedicated bicycles for disabled people, and 40 electric bicycle for those who cannot make such an effort because Iaşi is on the hills, so sometimes it's very difficult for less active people to have a ride. And also we have already in Iaşi, but we intend to extend and to improve dedicated path for cycling. And for that we are cooperating closely with the local NGOs in order to have a, let's say, more accurate view about our paths and the needs of the citizen for the new parts of the city to be covered, and also to promote in a very specific way the use of cycling. We also planned to install a charging station for bicycle and electric scooters that will be available for everybody for free, and to promote more the car sharing system. We have already a car sharing system in the private sector, even electric car sharing system, but we want to promote more this system in the city in order to help a little bit people to get together and have less congestion in the morning especially. Also, in the central area, we work on extension of the pedestrian area, existing pedestrian area. We do this in 2 steps. First step is to open various roads to pedestrian during the weekends, organizing events or green weekend markets in order to attract people and to get them used to this area as a pedestrian one. And in the second step, we want to make those areas permanently pedestrian and to find new roads that will become pedestrian. A really huge change was made in 2017 when Iaşi won the competition Digital Cities Challenge, and starting from that moment we worked on a digital transformation strategy of the city that was accomplished in 2019, and we set up a digital council for digital transformation in Iaşi that includes representatives of business, academia, local authorities and NGOs. And of course, the Faculty of Informatics is one of the most important members of this digital council. And well, this helped us a lot to have more smart city solution implemented, and we have also a dedicated department for smart city solution. And besides this, we have some other recognitions and initiatives like Romanian Sustainable City Award in 2019 awarded by the French Embassy and the Ministry of Environment, Best Smart City Project in 2019, Best Public Transportation Company in Romania in 2019, and also very nice European project for exchange of experience named Innovasan project, in which we cooperate with 10 European cities to find the best solution to innovate in our mobility, urban mobility in our cities. But we also rely a lot in private initiatives, and we have some very good examples that are helping us a lot as municipality, and that are helping a lot our citizens to have better understanding of the traffic and to have better understanding of the mobility in the city. And we have an open data site named Iași.digital about public transport, about air pollution and some other facilities. Iași.smartcity.ro, a platform with smart city projects, all kind of applications, starting from paying taxes and going to buying tickets for public transport or finding the best way to go from a point to another. We have here it is a mobile application for displaying the position of the means of transport, which is also very useful for the moment in the city. And we also count to use this connected road user for increased safety and optimized traffic flow together with Gheorghe Asachi Technical University from Iași. Thank you for your attention, and if there are questions or remarks, I'm really open to respond to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elena, for this presentation. There are no pressing questions from the audience so far. So that means that you have been very thorough in your presentation, and thank you very much for telling us the plans of the municipality. Okay, brilliant. So then we'll go to the second presentation of Alessandro Mediato, who is head of the public transport and sustainable mobility for the region Emilia-Romagna. So Alessandro, you have the floor.
Okay. You can see my presentation? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now we are speaking about the mobility policies in the Emilia-Romagna region. The city of Bologna is the capital and, of course, the main city of the Emilia-Romagna. So all these policies are a strong reflection in urban policies and urban projects in Bologna. This is the framework of the region. We have 9 provinces, about 4,003,000 of people living here, 348 municipalities but the 40% of the population is in the 13 main cities. We have one city, Bologna, over the 300,000 of inhabitants, and the other cities and other 12 other 10 cities over 100,000 of people, and the 2 cities between 50,000 and 100,000. So we have many people concentrated. We have I think a good urban development with compact cities. Half of the trips in our cities is under the 3 kilometers. All the cities are quite flat, so I think that it's a good environment to implement, or for example, cycling and pedestrian and sustainable mobility policies. The competence of the region is regulating the public transport. First of all, is the main activity, and to address the local authorities toward mobility policies. We have a high rate of motorization. We have about 640 vehicles on 1,000 of inhabitants, and this is our model split. Of course, the car is the main way to move people. This is some indicators about our development. For example, the length of a cycling network. We will start in 20 years from 400 to 4 times the first the length of the first network, from 400 to 1,600 kilometers. It's very interesting the datum about the traffic light, zone 30 zones, and the increasing of passengers in public transport. We double in 6 years. We double the passenger about some policies, or especially in trains. Now we are the first region who have a new contract for the railway operators, a contract obtained by tender and not a direct contract, and so it goes a complete renewal of the train fleet. So we pass in 1 year from an average age of the trains of over 20 years to 1 year. So we are starting a new way, a new life with the trains. This is the average age of the bus fleet in the region. We have about 3,000 of bus, and using national incentives, in 3 years we pass from about 13 years of average age to 11 years and a half. So we are going on with this renewal. In the next 5 years, we plan to change the other 25% of the fleet in order to decrease the average age. Because if you have good buses, not only good buses and comfortable buses, people leave better the car at home. These are the fuel fleet in the urban areas. We are decreasing of the diesel from 60% to 35%, and now methane is increasing in these years because it's now is the most economic and efficient balanced technology, and we plan to increase the electric fleet in the next years when the technology was adult. This is our main operation, the renewal of the whole rail trains fleet. There are 86 new trains, brand new trains, a new model, built in Italy, one from Alstom, the other from Hitachi. And we are now we have a little delay in renewal because of the emergency of the coronavirus, but we plan to cover all the renewal into between this summer. This is the main one of the main aspects is that all these trains have a great acceleration, 30% less of energy consumption, and 97% of materials are can be recycled. This is Alstom. They have the capacity. The Rock is the bigger, the capacity of 18 bikes, and the charging point for electric bikes. This Pop is a little train who have which have 80 slots for bicycle, for electric, also for electric bikes. We started many years ago a mobility policy about electric energy. We start Mi Muovo Elettrico is a project we started 10 years ago, where we start with an agreement with the main energy provider to put some charging point interoperable into the region. Now times are changing. We overcome the subsidizing the charging point, and we have last year, 2 years ago, we made an agreement with all the operators in the region of electric operators to install in a free way without public cost the new columns, with the agreement that all the new columns are interoperable, and they have to cover also the low demand areas. So without cost, we try to have all the regional territory covered by electric charging points. Other action is the cycling mobility. So the competence in the regions are to implement the regional network, which is a network that connect territories and cities, and we have not competencies into the urban cycling network because the competence are of the cities, of course. But since 65, two trips of 3 are into the cities, we think that as like you travel in the city is related on your behavior on the other way of transport. In other words, sorry for my English.
Alessandro, besides that, I just wanted to make you aware of the time and ask you if we can wrap up.
Okay, we take care of. We take care of urban mobility because urban mobility is a very a big number of trips, and accessibility to stations and train is our competence. Is fundamentally as you reach the station, is very important to define as you travel, if with the train or with the car. So if you stimulate that people go to the station with the bike, you can think that more people take the train. So we made 3 years ago the first regional law in cycling, and we are financing many with 25 millions, many intervents into the cities. So this is our regional network connected with the European and national cycling network. I think you know the European network of the main cycling ways, and so we address the cities in to enhance technical skills in cycling project, because we have a very old loyal framework, and so last year we made a manual, some guidelines in order to define some techniques of cycling projecting and policy implementing. And we covered it also with 4 seminars in the whole territory involving 400 technicians. I excuse for my bad English sometimes, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessandro, for this very interesting presentation. And I think you have made a lot of people very enthusiastic talking about the cycling project and also about the renewal of the bus fleet. So thank you for that. And now I'll quickly go to Răzvan Ruginiș from representing the municipality of Bucharest. Răzvan, in the interest of time, please resume to the 10 minutes. And I think you are still muted.
Do you hear me now?
No, now I can hear you. Great.
Great. Thank you very much for organizing and hosting this webinar. So many great ideas from Iaşi, Bologna. My position is actually different. I'm co-founder of Innovation Labs, a university-centric accelerator tackling innovation since 2013 in 5 Romanian cities, and we've mentored more than 350 products. It's a pleasure and honor to participate in European Mobility Challenge finalist speech. I would like to highlight Motum's team's key insight. Tech innovation is crucial for bridging diverse communities and generations. So this is something that we are trying to address because of this technology bubble, which usually addresses just a very narrow user group. Through a national-wide partnership with both public and private actors, we cover a large spectrum of mobility challenges, creating frictionless mobility for cities hospitable to human and nature alike. Orange, for example, is a great example for supporting mobility teams, and also trying to put in perspective Romanians' advantage. We had been ranking very high in digital connectivity, and Romania is now a pioneer in 5G networks. Last year, we have launched 3 commercial 5G networks, opening the way for future autonomous vehicle and also data-driven smart traffic management. It is high time to overcome the zero-sum game of urban mobility versus quality of life. We don't have to pitch drivers against pedestrians, cyclists, and non-human inhabitants of our cities. And for my perspective, Motum is a vivid example of a workable solution that is literally at the tip of our finger. Traffic accidents, congestion, and pollution are today a failure of our imagination. So we inherited this way of thinking, but I do think that together we can change the way we live in our modern cities. In Bucharest and Iași, throughout Romania, Tech Innovation will enable engineers, product designers, and city managers to work together in a data-rich environment to create experience-rich cities. And from my point of view, such events are key in this transformation of generations and putting a new way of living in cities in front of our eyes and making it more vivid for us, because as I told you, from my part, I see all the problems we have today as a lack of imagination, and we do hope things will change even faster. And for our part, as universities, as hubs where we connect stakeholders, we are trying to move this discussion along. What we have seen today, I think it's a great step forward. Thank you very much for hosting and for inviting us in this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Răzvan. So the time has come. If I'm getting, I'm fixing my, okay, perfect. Okay, so the results are in. I know that you are all eager to figure out who the winner is, and I won't keep you anymore in suspense. The winner of the European Mobility Challenge is team number 3 with 43% of the votes. So congratulations to the team from the Polytechnica in Bucharest. And I'm very happy for you, and I want to congratulate you on behalf of the jury. I really believe that you embody that innovative spirit that we were looking for with this competition, and I have no doubt that that you will do a fantastic job representing Europe at the Mobility Challenge, opposing the other team for the other 3 regions. So yeah, Adrian, if you want to say a few words, now is the time.
Thank you, Irina. Well, thank you to everyone who attended the presentation today. I think it was really interesting to see all of the proposed solutions, and it was a really demanding journey for us so far, and we expect it to be even more demanding coming forward. But as I've also said in the pitch, we feel ready to rise up to the challenge and to keep pushing on. Thank you.
Great. Well, congratulations again, and to those of you who are watching this webinar, you will hear more from Team 3, and you will learn more about them. We're going to feature the team members in one article, and as I said, you also will have the opportunity to engage with them at the AITS Congress in Hamburg. And to the other 2 finalists, I want to say congratulations as well for getting this far. Your solutions were amazing, as well as your presentation. And I would say that it's not the end, it's the beginning of the road for you. And as Ertico, we're very excited to continue to engage with you and to give you that platform to to continue to develop. So I want to thank as well the audience for taking the time and for being here, for voting. And of course, I want to thank the jury, not only for participating today, but also the time that they have taken in reading all the submissions and doing a wonderful job with the pre-selection. So thank you, Isabel, Maria Pia, Sasha, Gino, Lorian, and Jeannie as well. And of course, for today, I also would like to thank the city representatives for their participation and for the wonderful presentations. It's great to hear about the plans of the city, and this is what we as Ertico we want to do as much as possible, engage with the public authorities and make sure that we understand their needs. So thank you very much to Elena, Alessandro, and Răzvan. And with this, I declare the session as ended. Thank you for making it a great experience for all of us, and stay tuned for more news. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.